From its humble beginnings to the epic legacy it left behind, no other series perfectly exemplifies the rise and fall of the modern American mockumentary except for The Office. Most longtime viewers count Season 1, 8, and 9 as the worst of the series, and for those last two seasons, this is mainly due to the absence of Steve Carell's Michael Scott, who left the show after the 7th season. So why does the first season, the one to introduce Michael, get lumped in with the 8 and 9? Season 1 is rough because in the very first 6 episodes, the show was still struggling to find its identity. When it first came out in 2005, The Office was an almost exact remake of the show that inspired it, Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant's pivotal British sitcom of the same name. And while this failed to bring out the best of Michael Scott, it was the right approach for both the main premise and the other main characters. Jim and Pam's will they, won't they dynamic gave viewers someone to root for, and this also laid the groundwork for both relatively normal characters to become the goofy audience surrogates. Meanwhile, Dwight's sycophantic weirdness makes him arguably the more entertaining villain than Michael in the first season, and there's the rub. Season 1 was built around Michael Scott, but his over-the-top crassness and line crossing only served to make the other characters much more likable, relatable, and watchable. Simply put, this season falls short of the others because it relies too much on the same exact formula as the original UK version: dry, pessimistic irony. And this isn't to say that the first season of The Office was bad. Even as the show stumbled awkwardly in the dark, those initial 6 episodes understand dry humor more than most modern American sitcoms. This season is home to the episodes like Diversity Day, which perfectly translates the painful irony that made the original British version so funny. The same can be said of the episode Basketball, which sees a huge improvement not just in Michael, but in the overall chemistry of the entire cast. So while critics called the first season a passable imitation of a miles better BBC original, it also laid strong enough foundations for the American adaptation to come into its own. This almost didn't happen because of Season 1's terrible ratings, but thankfully then NBC president Kevin Riley was so enamored by the first season that he staked his reputation just for The Office to continue on the network. Little did everyone know that this decision would forever change the face of mainstream American comedy. Depending on who you ask, Season 2 and 3 are usually considered to be the era when The Office reached its peak, and this is largely due to how the show pivots to finally find its comedic voice. In the premiere episode of Season 2, The Dundies, the core comedic premise relies on a seemingly harmless Pam getting wasted at a Chili's. Pam gets drunk so she can stomach another one of Michael's award ceremonies. Ironically, this also gives Pam the courage to support Michael's earnest efforts at rewarding the team. And while Jim just joins in because he likes Pam, the pair eventually get everyone to participate in the Dundies, humanizing Michael Scott for the first time. In short, the Dundies is when the show completely breaks away from the sheer pessimism of the original British sitcom, and in doing so, this episode may have been the exact moment that triggered the rise of The Office as a cultural phenomenon. While Season 2 is when the show landed on its signature combo of irony and feel-good moments, many consider the second season to be the single best era of the show. Indeed, this season is home to such classic episodes as Office Olympics, which remains one of the greatest, funniest goof-off episodes in the history of Office workplace comedy. There's also Booze Cruise, memorable not just for Michael's awkward dance, but also his inspiring words to Jim, without which Jim and Pam might have never even happened. And let's not forget Dwight's speech, which Dwight gets awarded as top salesman, but is fooled by Jim into doing a speech inspired by dictators. My personal Season 2 favorite, The Injury, when Dwight gets a concussion that brings out his good side. Apart from the Dundies, The Injury is the perfect early example of The Office combining dark or crass situational comedy with heartfelt storytelling. But on that note, this combination is also why the finale, Casino Night, is arguably the best written episode of the second season, and also known as the episode where Jim and Pam shared their first real kiss. Casino Night also lays the groundwork for Season 3's two-part structure. The first part sees the fallout of Jim and Pam's kiss, as Season 3 divides focus between Scranton and Jim's new life in the Stamford branch of Dunder Mifflin. And the second part is where these two branches merge, introducing tension via the love triangle of Jim, Pam, and Karen. and the Scranton debut of the fiery Andy. After establishing roots in Season 2, the Ferret is when the Office first experiments with its known format and strikes gold. Apart from this, episodes like The Convict and Gay Witch Hunt continued to raise the comedic bar for the show in the third season. From the character of Prison Mike to Michael buying Pam's paintings in business school, The Office Season 3 undoubtedly represents the very best of this workplace dramedy. In fact, while Season 1 is when the mockumentary genre landed on American soil, Seasons 2 and 3 is when it went fully mainstream. From the first season averaging at just about 5.4 million viewers, the second and third seasons garnered around 8 million, a figure that would only rise in the following middle seasons of the show. Moreover, Seasons 2 and 3 also established the format that would later pave the way for many other iconic sitcoms such as Parks and Rec, Modern Family, and What We Do in the Shadows. Yet while Seasons 2 and 3 are great, they also laid the groundwork for the show to outdo itself in the middle seasons. Whichever seasons of The Office are the best is largely a matter of opinion, but what's undeniable is how seasons 4 to 7 took the core concepts of the show to the next level. One of the best examples of this is the story arcs The Deposition and Dinner Party. After setting up a pressure cooker situation for Michael and Jan in The Deposition, they then host a dinner party that nearly matches the original British Office in sheer cringe. Season 4 is also when Jen and Pam officially started dating, and when Michael meets Holly. In turn, Michael and Holly's relationship is what prompts the creation of the Michael Scott Paper Company. Both a dramatic and comedic highlight of Season 5. In addition to episodes like The Duel and Company Picnic, many argue that Season 5 should be considered the best season of The Office. And indeed, this is also the season that includes Stress Relief, the two-part episode that covers Michael's infamous warehouse roast. As Stress Relief aired right after Super Bowl 23 on NBC, it attracted an estimated 22.9 million viewers, making it the most watched episode of The Office. And while Season 6 is when the show first aired Real Signs of Aging, Season 7 returns with a vengeance in episodes like Threat Level Midnight, China, and Classy Christmas. In addition, the middle seasons are also when Ryan radically evolves as a character and when Andy truly steps out of Dwight's shadow. With all that being said, many viewers consider Seasons 6 and 7 to be the beginning of the end for America's then favorite mockumentary. Apart from the notorious Season 6 slump, the Season 7 Goodbye Michael notably saw the departure of Michael Scott. And if there's one thing that the most loyal fans and harshest critics of The Office can agree on, Michael leaving is the exact moment when the show truly began to falter. Steve Carell's departure practically broke The Office, but it had to happen at some point. Thanks to movies like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Little Miss Sunshine, and Get Smart, Carell needed to focus on his film career in the 2010s, and with the 6th and 7th seasons showing a noticeable drop in quality for the show, some longtime viewers argue that Carell made the right choice. However, Michael Scott also left behind a massive creative vacuum that The Office never truly managed to fill. Barring Ed Helms' success in the iconic 2009 comedy The Hangover, his character Andy became Michael's replacement as the manager of the Scranton branch. In addition, Season 8 saw the reign of James Spader's Robert California as the new CEO of Dunder Mifflin, and possibly the most divisive character in the history of The Office. And to be fair, Andy and Robert do have their moments of glory. In The Incentive, Robert challenges Andy to create a program for doubling sales, culminating in the whole office working together to give Andy a tattoo of Nardog on his butt. In the end, Robert reveals the Darwinian wisdom behind making the manager the butt of the joke, just one of the many one-liners the fiery new boss has become known for. However, my personal Season 8 favorite is Garden Party, where Jim creates a book to fool Dwight into throwing a ridiculously elaborate garden party at Schrute Farms, which ultimately fails to impress Robert. Yet even these actually funny episodes underscore the problem with Season 8. The best moments of this season are hinged on recycled plot lines. While Garden Party is awesome and it's essentially just a rehash of the core premise of Dwight's speech from Season 2, and while Andy and Robert do grow into their new roles, they don't really do anything that Michael and Dwight haven't already pulled off. Robert California certainly showed promise through his new brand of toxic chaos, but after Robert's arc fizzled out, instead of exploding as expected, he's mostly remembered for his badass one-liners instead of being an actual character. Story-wise, the real saving grace of Season 8 was the revamp of Dwight and Angela's relationship, which also pulls in Oscar for some real character development. But even that part of Season 8 is rooted in elements that were established in the Michael Scott era of the show. Personally, I still like both Seasons 8 and 9, but for many viewers, the last two seasons' merits don't really make up for the fact that they're a pale imitation of what used to be The Office. Okay, let's make one thing clear. The Office Season 9 doesn't really square up to the earlier seasons, but just like Season 8, the ninth and last season of the show is not a bad season of TV. The episode Here Comes Trouble saw the glorious return of Andy before anger management, one of the most interesting twists in the last episodes. And let's not forget Staremageddon. The Office never lost its ability to do so much with just 22 minutes. However, after the emotional impact of the finale had passed, Season 9 was still left with more than a few glaring problems. From Andy becoming a caricature of himself to Pam and Jim's fight, certain beats in the last season made it feel like an entirely different show. So while I personally enjoyed Season 9, there's no ignoring how it highlights how The Office suffered from the age-old sitcom problem, becoming too successful for its own good. But what do you think? Did Season 9 end on a high note, or should The Office have ended much earlier? Let us know in the comments. My name is Shell, thanks for watching ScreenRant, and we'll see you next time.